Hi, today we're going to look at how to check the charging system. This particular model is going to be a 2012 Equinox. The procedure is pretty much the same on most models. I haven't really dug into this yet, so the complaint is the dash light come on that said check charging system, I think, and then a battery light came on. And here it is, so we're going to test it real quick. These are some of the tools we're going to use today. Just a basic multimeter to test the battery and alternator. There's several ways to check for a bad alternator or battery, and we'll follow that up with an OBD2 test. We can actually check the charging and starting system with a little more detail. So first I'll show you the multimeter test. And the first one we're going to do, the car is off. I'm going to set the multimeter to DC voltage so that we can just check the battery. So just in this vehicle here, the battery is covered, partially covered. So it has some external terminals here so that you can jump it and things like that. We'll use it to test for the moment. So we'll hit the ground, look at the positive, 1233. That indicates a battery is okay decently. So the voltage is good. Anything a little more than 12 volts usually is good. I like to see a little higher than that. So now we're going to do the same test with the vehicle running if it'll start. So now that the vehicle's running, we're going to do that same test on the battery. And what you're looking for here is a higher number. If the alternator is working properly, you should see somewhere in 14 volt plus range, indicating that the alternator is charging the battery while it's running. And we actually see less than 12 volts, so 11.5. Early indicators real quick here is that we likely have a bad alternator. It's not charging the battery while it's running. Now, this particular model again is using some remote terminals to be able to test. So to really prove that out, we're going to shut the vehicle off and use an OBD2 tester to test the charging system. And during this process, I'll show you, it'll ask you when to start it, when to stop it, and what to look for. And we'll do that again right now. With the scanner plugged in and the key turned on to the accessory position before starting, we'll let it connect. And we'll check for some codes and then we'll do the test. Right now there's no powertrain codes or freeze frame data indicating there wasn't a check engine light, just the battery light came on. If you look at the dash, you can see that red battery box. That was the only light that's on. Just because the key's on right now, you see multiple lights. But so we'll do the battery start test. So in the menu under this model, all OBD2 testers might be different. This one's got some pretty decent functionality for a middle of the road kind of tester. There is a battery alternator test here, so we're going to go down and select that. And we're going to do an alternator test since we believe that might be what's going on. Engine needs to be running at normal operating temperature to begin this test. Start the engine and turn on your headlights. This model, the headlights automatically come on, so you don't have to switch them on if you don't need to. I'm going to press the button to continue. And then I ask you to increase the engine speed to 2,000 RPMs and hold it there until this countdown reaches 0. So this is a bit difficult sometimes to reach, but you'll see if you look at the RPM gauge, I'm going to try to hold it to 2,000 RPMs. And the countdown started already. So that thing will start counting down now. And when that countdown reaches 0, it'll give us some information or instructions. This is just so that it's measuring under load the alternator voltage, return back to the battery, those kind of things. Things you can't really do with a multimeter easily. So let's see what it says here. Turn the headlights to the off position.
One more.
There it is. So the charging voltage was 1149. That's almost exactly what we saw with the voltmeter out there with the vehicle running and the voltmeter on the battery. Charging voltage is under the acceptable limit. This could cause damage to the battery or other electrical components. Inspect your charging system for faults. So what this likely means is we do, in fact, have a bad alternator. So I'm going to stop the test here, shut the vehicle off and unplug it. and we'll start taking a look at this alternator. Alright, so under the hood, we're just going to check the alternator real quick, just so I can show you guys. We kind of believe this is going to be a bad alternator, but one thing you should do when you're diagnosing these things is take a look at your connections. Down here is the only two connections electrically for the alternator. Obviously the power wire and the plug here. We're just going to make sure everything looks tight and make sure that the connections look like they're okay. Nothing is missing. The plug is fully snapped on here. It's hard to tell with the oil things in the way there, but looks like everything's connected well. This is going to be a bad alternator, so I'm going to remove the alternator. You guys can do things like take them to AutoZone, advance those things. They can test them right there. They're going to do similarly that what this test we just did here is. We're going to have to replace the alternator. We'll see. Look for more videos. Maybe I'll put a video of replacing that. Thanks.